Hey, 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 everybody. Come on in to the house. Come on in to the session for tonight. I'm going to give people just a few minutes here because, as you probably see, I started with no music. Just really, man, what a day today. What a day today. I'll take some time out for those of you who are, hearing this. My name is Antonio Cheeks. I'm with the Cheeks Group, and this is one of our attempts of serving our community, serving leaders, helping them find their rhythm, whether it be in ministry or the marketplace. And one of the things we're doing is this platform here where we are helping them, you and I, take the next step. And so it's called Taking the Next Step. And I just wanted to come on here tonight and take a few moments to talk about a couple of things as we work through the book. We're finishing up on this book. Identity Leadership by Stedman Graham. And he talks about in order to lead others, we must first lead ourselves well. And so we're still going in that. But man, while people are coming in, I'm just going to say how grateful and how great God is. I'm just going to take that moment out just to say that and acknowledge God, how great God is, how grateful I am to be a child of God. And I know that, hey, Anita, how you doing? Anita, I'm just talking, man, about there was no music this morning or this evening, just depending on where people are in the world. I just came straight on so I could just say, hey, God is so good. God is so good. Sometimes in our world, we can feel like all the pieces aren't coming together. But when I tell you God has a plan for you, God has a plan for you, and it's just a matter of seeing it work out. And if you're patient, if you faint not in your well doing, in the small doings, and when things are small and starting small, and if you do not faint not, if you faint not, then you will definitely see the glory of the Lord. I guarantee you that. So hang in there, stay fast, be steadfast rather, and you will not be disappointed. And I know there's ups and downs and turnarounds, and things don't always go the way they should go. But I'm here to tell you that you will be okay if you put your trust in the Lord. So, man, this is really cool time. So there's two parts to this session tonight. Again, this won't be a long session. I try to keep it where it's digestible, where you can get some information, have this conversation, and then go about our day and be back with our families and do other things. But first part of this, we're going to go into the book again, and we're going to talk about activating our lives and our self leadership. How do we activate it? We're going to talk about that. And in the book, there's I want to say there's 3 to 4 different activations that he talks about in the book. The second part of this conversation, we're going to talk about what's next. So this is the last conversation around this book. You should get the book. So we're going to finish up the conversation on this book, and then we're going to talk about what's coming next, the next sessions that we're going to have coming up, which is going to be totally different. I'm going to call it, for me, it's going to be like a homecoming. I'm coming back home to a topic. So let's go ahead and get into this. Again, thanks for coming out. We appreciate you being here. Don't forget to share the link of the program. Taking the next step. Go ahead and share it with somebody. Let them know that we are on the air. But I'm going to go ahead and dive into it. And let me go ahead to my share area here. And I'm going to talk to you about, in the book, he talked about these things called activations. And these activations help you to do just that. They activate your self leadership, they activate your life. And so I want to take a moment and just go through some of the activations that he has in the book. And maybe we can work through some of them together as a team. So he talks about these activations. So the first activation that he brings up in his book, in order for us to live this life of self leadership, the first activation is living meaningfully, living a meaningful life, not just floating through life, but actually having meaning. And so in the book, he says on this particular topic, he said we can float through our days without giving it much thought, just floating through, just existing. But he's saying, in contrast to that, we should be living a meaningful life. He said to live meaningfully, to live, here's another word, intentionally, with purpose and the energy that comes with living intentionally, that makes all the difference. There's an energy that comes from us living a meaningful life. And so then he gives a question. And here's the question. He said, in order for us to activate, number one, living a meaningful life, he says to ask yourself this question: what gives my life meaning? What gives my life meaning? So you want to ask, oh, okay, cool. No problem. No problem. I got that. So yeah, he asked what gives us meaning. And so I said, well, I'll play along. I'll go along with this and you can follow along. And so I want you to ask yourself that question. He said, what gives my life meaning? Then he says, what activities or pursuit do I find myself more energized? So in other words, when I do X, I feel more that I'm in pursuit of my happiness, or I have more energy when I do X. And so for me, I put down that in order for me to live meaningfully, if I answer the question, what gives me meaning, is when I'm doing what I'm doing right now, teaching, sharing, inspiring. That gives look, you too, teaching, you that. Okay, so ask yourself that question: what gives me energy? When I pursue it, it gives me energy. So the other thing I like to do is when I find myself inspiring others, that gives me meaning. When I know that I'm actually making an impact in somebody else's life, or when they say, you know what, I get it. I know some of you may be the same way when you teach or when you're consulting or coaching, and you can see that the recipient of what you're doing go like, wow, you can see the light bulb go off. Man, when that happens for me, so Sharon, you got teaching and one-on-one encouraging others. Yeah, that's so when you do that. So in the book, he's saying, think about that. So while you're thinking about these things, go ahead and take a piece of paper out and let's go through these four activations and see what comes up. And I'm going to share my thoughts with stuff that I have written down here in the book. And I think you should do the same thing. Go ahead and pull that out. So that was the first question. What gives my life meaning? In what activities or pursuit do I find myself more energized? And actually, one thing I do that makes me feel more energized is getting myself back on a workout program. Come on, y'all. When I do that, I feel like, okay, it's hard to start over again as I have started over and over and over again. But once I get going, it feels pretty good. Then he goes on and asks this follow-up question: why does it give your life meaning? So the first part of the question is, what gives my life meaning? I hope you wrote that down. And then the second part of the question he asks us, why does it give our lives meaning? So why, what, and then why? So ask yourself the question: when I do X, why do I get this feeling of meaningfulness? Is that a word? Meaningfulness. We making up stuff as we go. Also, it's a form of giving for me. So if I'm teaching or inspiring somebody or coaching, and there's like, man, I get it. That actually, it's a form of, I don't know. I feel like I'm adding some value to society when I do that. I feel like I'm adding value to society when I am doing that thing that gives me that pursuit. So that was number one, living a meaningful life. That was number one. So take that, chew on that a little bit, and then we will move on to number two. Number two was dare to dream. Dare to dream. And he talks about how Sometimes, okay, the power to change a life and mindset. Yes, that's a good one. And we're going to come back to that, taking care of yourself. Must take care of yourself. So, yeah, so having that daring, daring to dream kind of mindset. And so when he talks about daring to dream, sometimes as we were floating through life, we start thinking that maybe this is all there is, and so we stop dreaming, we stop having our creativity flow. And what we really need is small wins in life. Dream big, win small. I always say that, you dream big, but what's going to keep you moving is those small wins through life. And so sometimes we just need a small victory to help us start dreaming again. We start seeing that, what, maybe I can do that. You just need a small win. It could be just making up your bed first thing in the morning. So making it like, hey, you know what? When I get my first win of the day is going to be my bed is made, and it's not that I just threw the thing back. You know how some of y'all do. I've done it, but actually making up your bed, let that be your first success thing. So when you start having those little small successes, you start to dream again. And so here's the question he asked. I want to hear some answers on this one. I want to hear what you got to say. So his questions is on this one is, in my dream job, I would, and then fill in the blank. So if I was given my dream job, I would fill in the blank. So talk to me. Talk to me. What do you think? What would be your dream job? What would it look like? What would it feel like? So I'll start. Okay, my first win is not hitting the snooze alarm. Yeah, that's a good one. Not hitting that's a good win. Yeah, you just jump out of the bed. I think I heard something was called the 5 second rule. I think it was called the 5 seconds. Like when you wake up or anything, you just count 1, 2, 3, and just count to 5 and just do it. You only got 5 seconds to ponder it. So if you can get up and not hit that snooze button, that's a win. So that's a good one. So let's talk about. So I hope you wrote that down. My dream job. In my dream job, I would. What would it look like? Come on, give me some feedback. I'm gonna share mine. So in my dream job, I would, man, the day would look like creating maybe some learning material in the day. It would be then a part of my day would be some teaching. I would be teaching some leaders. Another part of my day might be meeting with my teams. And then another part of my day would be building relationships with team members or people that I needed to meet. You know how sometimes there's people you need to meet to help you get to your journey, or so you can help them get to their journey. So making those relationships or those partnerships, that would be part of my day. What am I hearing from you guys out there? What would be if you had your dream job? Another thing for me, man, flexibility. That would be dream for me. Like having some autonomy in my workday. I could not that I just want to be free willing, but if I wanted to do something, I could go do it. That would be a great day. If I wanted to spend time, if I say, hey, this is the middle of the day, and I wanted to go somewhere like back to the Bible Museum, that was, oh man, awesome. I got to get back down there. But if I wanted to take time out of my day and go in the middle of the day with probably it's not a lot of people, I want to be able to do that. I want that flexibility to be able to do that. I want to be able to be creative in my day. Like, can I, be able to come up with some ideas and actually have somebody take those ideas seriously? So that would be nice to have that happen in my day. Anything? What would be your ideal job if you had a job, or maybe your business? What would be ideal in your day? Write that down. That's another activation. So dream about it. See, when you dream, there's nobody hindering you. There's nobody putting caps on you. You can dream big. Nobody's holding you back. So go ahead and dream. And what would that look like? So that's activation number 2. So then he goes on and starts talking about activation number 3. Now, this is an interesting one. So don't get freaked out on this one when you hear it come up on the screen. But this is activation number 3, which is write your obituary. Wow. And he even says it in the book. He said, yeah, most people are going to be freaked out about this one, or they're going to, think it sounds kind of morbid to talk about your obituary. But, basically what he's asking us to do is to start writing out the end game now. So, like, what do we want to be remembered for? Okay, I see some things. Okay, that's good. I see some stuff starting to pop up. So, what do we want to be remembered for? That's our obituary. So then he goes in and says, what experience do we want to have lived? So in your obituary, you're like, what did you do? You traveled, like I see a couple of my friends here in the chat, your name. I traveled the world. I've been to all the continents. I was able to, actually visit every continent on the planet. I did that in my life. Um, whose lives do you want to touch? That's another thing he had in there. Whose lives do you want to touch? Uh, so when you write that down, it's almost like you're writing the destination out and then working backwards. So your obituary is not like, okay, see you, oh man, you're not here on earth anymore. But it's like it's giving you a marker. You say, hey, this is what I want my life at the end of the road. I want it to look like or have done X. And then you work yourself back from there and then start to try to implement those things. So what kind of questions does he give us around that? So he says, here's one question, write these down. At the end of my life, I want people to remember me as this type of person. So what kind of person is that? At the end of my life, I want people to remember me as this type of person. And then you ask and answer that question. What kind of person do you want to be known as? At the end of my life, I want people to remember me as this type of person. Go ahead and write that down in your notes. So I put down here, okay, I'm still sharing my stuff. Now I did this a minute ago. I didn't just do this. This is not like new stuff. So I'm looking at my handwriting is so bad, guys, that I'll go back looking at my handwriting and go like, what was I trying to say? Oh my goodness. So, but I said to give of myself to make others feel comfortable and safe. To give of myself in a way that makes others feel comfortable and safe. That's one thing. So people say, man, every time I was around Antonio, man, I felt safe, or it felt like a safe space for me. I felt like I could share it. I think I was talking maybe about, just giving people a safe space to be able to talk and share. And I think that's kind of me. If I think about it, I think if you ask people, I think I give people space to talk, and communicate and share in a safe, and I think people feel safe about that in that, doing that with me. So I think that's on spot, even though I wrote this a while ago. I think it's on spot. So that was one question. Then another part of the same activation here. Oh yeah, fun, loved. Oh yeah, yeah, yep. I like that. I like what y'all talking about in the chat. This is good in the comments. So then another part of the same question or the same activation is, I want to live a life with these kinds of experiences. I think I had mentioned it earlier that, maybe one experience you might want to have that I traveled or I've been to every continent on the planet. That might be an experience that you want to live. Yeah, I actually have, oh my God, I actually have on here travel around the world. Yeah. So that might be an experience that, so what would be that experience? So again, this is something to help you activate your self-leadership or living a life. Basically, what he's having us do is live a life with intention and not just floating through life, but actually have some intention about our life. So then another part of the same activation is, I want to have achieved. Again, this is all under the part about writing your obituary. And then he puts down some categories that we could add to the obituary to make it come alive. So I think this is the last one for this one. Yeah, it says, I want to have achieved, and then you fill in the blank, as many blanks as you want. So for me, it might be financial freedom. No, it is financial freedom. I said it might be. It is financial freedom. Yes. I think, especially if you are a believer and believing in what? If you're a believer in Christ, so people believe a whole lot of stuff. I think it's going to come a time where the more financially free we are, the more we can contribute to the growing and growth of the kingdom, and we could, you know, give our resources to causes that actually mean something to us. Um, what they call it, philanthropic type approaches to life. So that's what financial freedom means to me, that I can give more. I think that's what I'm saying, that I can give more. So what is it for you? And all that is under activation number 3. All right. So let's move to activation number 4, which is a huge activation. Let me see if I can pull this. So activation number 4 is personal vision statement. Everybody has a vision. Companies have visions. Corporations have visions. So, and we get attached to other people's vision. But what the author is telling us to do is that we need to have our own personal vision statement, because so we don't perish. Y'all know about that one, right? So we have some wisdom and guidance, like where are we going? So remember earlier we talked, maybe week 1, he said 3 of the things that's in self-leadership is knowing who you are, knowing where you're going, and knowing who you need to help you get there, or how you're going to get there. So you need to know those things. So he says a personal vision statement helps you clarify what is important to you. It acts as a rudder or steer as you navigate through your days, and help you keep your focus with all the distractions that's going on every day. So having a personal vision helps you to say, that's not for me. Not only does it help you understand what to say yes to, I believe more importantly, it gives you an idea what to say no to by having your personal vision statement. And man, so again, I think I had down here. No, I'm going to tell you what I had down here. I hope you guys are writing this stuff down for yourself and go back and answer these questions. But I said I had down here to give. My vision was to, and it might need some work, but it was to give the gift of inspiration by helping others find their own rhythm. That was kind of like my vision statement, but I can see it needs to be more fleshed out, right? So like, how am I going to do that? What are going to be some of the steps? I know that I am what they call an equipper. Like I get joy from equipping others. So yeah, but you have to work on it. It's a work in progress. You'll start it, but the thing is to start. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever drove up to a sign on a construction site, and it might be a new condominium, it might be a new shopping area, but it's not there yet. It's just a hole in the ground. But the billboard is there, the sign is there, and the sign says coming soon. And I don't know about you, but when I see that stuff, I'm like, oh my God, this is exciting, because you're like, man, I can't wait to see how it's going to come out. Then they start building, and the sign, and you're like, is it starting to look like the sign? The sign is the vision. Like for your life, you have a reference point that's pointing, that you can put in front of you to remind you of what's about to come. That keeps you excited, that keeps you energized when you have your vision, your personal vision statement. So you want to write that. I mean, it's a whole lot that he talks about in there about your vision statement. So you want to have, I know some of you have your business vision for your business, but you also need to have one for your personal life as well, you as an individual. So that's what he went through. We went through four activations to get you going in self-leadership. So what I'm gonna do now, let me come back here. So that was step 1. Let me see if anybody has any questions, comments at this time. I'll go ahead and we're actually doing really good, and I'm gonna start talking about the second half and what's coming up next week. in the weeks to come. We're probably going to stay on what we're going to talk about next week. We're probably going to stay on that for a good little while. But I'll take a moment out. And I know there's, for those of you who live stream or maybe are interested in live streaming, there's a little delay sometimes. So when you're typing and or when I'm speaking, we're not on the same page in a sense. That's probably, let me explain what I mean. Like if I say the word the, when I say the, you're not getting it when I said it. Did that make any sense? When I say it, you're not getting it. You're getting it is a little, what they call latency. So it's a little delay. And that's so, I don't know, maybe it can clean up something, or if I said something crazy, I can go back and edit it. But latency is what's happening. So if you got questions, you want to get them in quick, because if I move on to the next thing while you're typing, what you're saying to me is also delayed, or what they call latency. So there you go. Yes, right. There is a time, like when I say something, you're not getting it until a few seconds later. So thanks. So I don't know when you typed that, Sharon, but yeah, I'm getting it. I'm just now getting it. So that's good. I like that. I hadn't put anybody up on the screen yet. So let me put Sharon up there. Yes, there is a time lapse or time delay. Yep. That's good stuff. All right. So let me move on to the next thing. So starting next week, hopefully next week, we're going to still talk about leadership. We're going to still talk about personal leadership, life mastery, personal mastery, self-leadership, whatever, is more palatable for you. We're going to start talking about that. However, we're going to start going into what we called leading well. Leading well. You don't want to miss an episode. Here it is. This is what's been going on. And I think I might have mentioned July the 25th of this year. I was driving to work, and on my way to work, I almost fainted or passed out or whatever, And I was like, man, I got home. I turned around. I was on my way, turned around, went back home, called the doctor. And typically when I try to call my doctor, they tell me that I can come in a week from now, 2 weeks from now, sometime even a month sometime. But on that particular day, they said, we want to see you right away. All right, cool. So I went there, and they ran a battery of tests. They test my heart. They did a test on my brain. They did a CT scan, which is something I always wanted somebody to do anyway, because I wanted to know what was in my head, what was up in there. And just like I expected, they came back and said there's nothing up in there. And I said, I knew that. I knew it was nothing in there. So, but nothing to be concerned about. But at that moment, the doctor turned to me. I mean, it took me through a lot of stuff. Doctor came back to me and she said, Antonio, have you ever heard of self-care? And I wanted to scream at her and say, of course, I talk about this stuff all the time. But as leaders, sometimes we don't take our own medicine. And so there's been several things that have led me to this topic that we're going to go into next week. That was just one. Since COVID hit, there's been several incidents from a health perspective that nobody knew about, because leaders, we just keep going. We're going through issues and we just keep going. However, God has placed on my heart not only to talk about it, but actually to have you take the journey with me. So that means that I have to be a bit transparent about some things that's going on. And God has been saying, no, don't just talk about it, share your journey with people and have people come along, because I believe that this is something that people will benefit from, talking about leading well. And so we're not just talking about you doing a great job as a leader. We're talking about how are you as a leader, you personally, how are you? And we're going to talk about that. And this is going to be interesting. I think it's going to be very fun. And because I'm actually going to take you off site into some workouts, into the gym. We're going to talk about being well. We're going to talk about wellness. I'm going to have Some people come on to talk about nutrition. We're going to talk about all this around self-leadership, leading ourselves from a physical standpoint, emotional standpoint, and spiritual standpoint, leading well. And so I think we're going to park out there for a little bit. We're going to start having, like, when we did the marathon, we had guests come on. We had guests come on to speak on certain topics. So this is one of those situations where I have to, buddy of mine told me to just, I don't have to know everything, just stir up the pot. And I said, oh, wow. And then I talked to another gentleman just a couple of days ago, and he said, sound the alarm for leaders, that this is something we need to do. So I'm sounding the alarm that we need to lead well. And so I'll bring people on to help us with that. But I'm also going to get myself into the gym and show you some things in the gym, what we need to do especially as we start to, mature a little bit. I'll say mature a little bit, but get older, mature a little bit. There's some things we need to do differently. So I'll go ahead and embarrass myself and bring y'all right along the journey. So this is going to be me exposing my truth, what I've been dealing with and things of that nature, and bring some people into it. Yes, we could meet at the gym. I tell you what, I'm going to see, because we do have a studio that we have access to, a fitness studio, and I'm gonna see what we can do about that. And just work out, just have some fun as we're leading ourselves well. So we'll be doing that starting next week. So tell your family and friends to come on board and hear what's going on. Man, another thing was I was laughing at, and we're gonna sum this up. I was laughing. I went to pick up a buddy of mine. We were gonna go out and play some Top Golf, and he didn't have a phone charger. So I said, what do you mean you don't have a phone charger? So he said, well, I got one at the house. So we went back to his house. He went in and was running back out to the car because we wanted to hurry up and get out to Top Golf. And I laughed at him because when he ran, I said, stop running. It was horrible. It looked painful. That's how out of shape he was. A couple of days later, I was in Bethesda. And I called myself running across an intersection. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It was painful. And I know it looked just as bad as I felt. I had to call my buddy back and apologize. He said, what you want to apologize for? I said, man, because I laughed at you so hard when you was running to the car. I said, I was just trying to run across the street, and it was just as bad, probably worse. So we got to stop, guys. We're gonna turn this around. We're gonna lead, but we're gonna lead from a place of wellness, and we're gonna hang out there. We're gonna coach, talk a little bit, and I'm gonna share the love. We're gonna lead well. Yes, I'm glad. I'm happy that you like it. We're gonna have some fun, and we're gonna do better. I mean, I got to get better with nutrition. I'm gonna share some stuff. Y'all just don't know. I got some stuff going on. And here's the thing. When you are so-called slim, when people say, oh, you're slim, don't fall for that trick. Sometimes the person that you call slim is in worse shape than most people, because their body doesn't show the ailments or the deconditioning like it would normally show up in somebody else. So even the person that is slim might be deceived by their level of wellness. So don't be deceived because you see somebody, oh, they already trim. No. Hey, I'm trim, but I'm what they call fat skinny, or skinny fat. I got all the ailments and conditions of somebody that's what would be called society, what society would call, yeah. What? I'm looking at this. That's like trying to jump and really only can tiptoe to look like jump. Yeah, that's crazy. Look, I'm putting up what my brother Charles put up here. Yeah, he said that's like trying to jump and really only can tiptoe to look like jumping. Yeah, that's it. So I'm gonna do some truth telling in this series, because with that, maybe we could save, as a collective, we could save a few people. Yes, we're gonna talk about stress. Uh, 75 to 80%. Well, we getting into the topic already, so I know this is going to be good. 75 to 80% of all doctor visits are stress related. Now, you might say, what? So you may go in because of a pain here or pain there, but when you go to the root cause of that ailment or that pain, 70 to 80% of doctor office visits are stress related. Isn't that something? So we're going to talk about that and how we can control that. Well, I'm already happy that you guys are participating with this announcement. I'm just announcing it as I start fleshing it out and having the guests set up and things of that nature, and then set up the gym. Anita, I'm going to check out that studio that we have. We do have access to it. I'm trying to see. Yeah. Okay, so we got here. I exercise to eliminate stress. That's right. That has been proven to lower cortisol, which is a stress hormone, and when that gets into your body, or as it increased in your body, it can run havoc on our health. And so we got a lot to do. I got to go on a Mediterranean diet. I keep saying it every year, but I will bring it out. Because the truth will set you free, and so that's where I'm at now. So I figure if I share my truth with the tribe, that somebody in the tribe will say, hey, you know what? If he's going to go there, I'm going to go there too. We're going to turn things around. We're going to change it. Because I guarantee you, whatever you're dreaming about, remember the book he was talking about, Dare to Dream? Well, when you start thinking about what you want to accomplish, what do you think is going to get you there? Your health. Your health is going to be the vehicle that takes you to your dreams. And so I would hate for you and I to get to our opportunity, the opportunity of a lifetime, and can't fulfill it because we didn't take care of our health. We're not leading well. And I've been leading for a lifetime, and I had to learn the lesson to pull back and be better at leading myself. So let's pray that God is all in this. God is going to be all in it. We're going to pray over it. We're going to have God put an anointing on the whole process. I'm excited about it already because I'm seeing your excitement. Well, okay, here we go. I love when we get the stats. Let's bring it up on the screen. So, matter of fact, let me see if I can bring that a little bit bigger for you guys so you can see it. Boom. So I wasn't too far off. 75 to 80% reduction in doctor's visits. Wow. Can you say 75 to 80% less in co-pays? Wow. The stats the numbers are what they are. Let's make it happen, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So look, I'm out. Thanks for hanging out today. We're gonna pick up next week. I'll start getting it. You'll see the announcements. I think on this topic, lead well. I think, ladies and gentlemen, I think you want to share this. You want to share this link. So if you get it, share it with other people. Remind people that it's happening, and we're gonna make it work. We're gonna change. We're gonna help somebody, y'all. We're gonna help somebody. We can help a couple of people. We've done a great job. And we're going to do it collectively because we're a collective, we're a group, we're a team. And so we're going to help. So I want to thank you guys for coming out. Yes. Thank you guys for coming out tonight, and not considering this time robbery for you, but as Dr. Willie Jolly would say, your best is yet to come. You're just getting started. And for your health setbacks is a setup for a comeback. I will start talking all this stuff, but, I did mention where it came from, though. So anyway, thank you so much. God bless you all. It's going to be a good day. Good days are on the way. Good days are on the way if we lead well. Again, this is Antonio Cheeks. Thanks for coming out, and I will see you guys on the other side. All right? I'll see you next time, next week, God willing. Take care now. Yeah, thumbs up, thumbs up. I'm seeing the thumbs up. Good. All right, y'all. Take care and talk to you real soon as we lead well. Yes, we will push through. Perseverance. More coming. More coming. Take care. Bye bye now.